Ready?
Yeah.
I'm not.
All right,
Go
because
ahead.
it's rolling.
Welcome back to Automation Airwaves. I'm your host, Scott Teeple, and with me today is Justin Bishop. Thanks for coming in today. As you know, we are walking through the global AI market report and all of the stall points. I think there's 13 of them. So I think we're on episode 9. We're talking about supporting adoption through change management. So thanks for coming in today.
Thank you. Thanks for having
So
me.
as always, we really start out by defining a little bit more of what we mean within this stall point. So Justin, could you take us through what Agilify and what it means to us?
Absolutely. So we get to this point where we struggle within our automation program where a lot of businesses stall out at the adoption level. They've got their program up and running. It seems like everything is running really succinctly, and all of a sudden it just starts falling apart because we've got all areas of the business not really working together. So we've got the business side that's not talking to the IT side. IT side's not talking to the business side. The people side is starting to fail. They're not. You've got all these cultural and generational differences where people are just resisting the automation, the program itself.
So I think the last time, we had Lee on, we talked through the overall program, and when you're starting off kind of small, you kind of have not a defined program champion, right? You don't have that
Right.
person who's really named, that really is driving what would be that organization. And what we find is that we've got a lot of different ideas and a lot of different ways of kind of
Exactly.
moving that through, and it's a little bit more of what we're talking through. So once we have like a program champion defined from the last time, right? The next step then is this change management, right?
Right, and
understanding.
and just to follow up with that program champion is critical to the adoption of this program. You've got to have that person in place, championing for the entire program. They've got to be. They have to be the person that is really has a good understanding of the program, and goes out to the people, goes out to the business side, goes out to the IT side, and make sure that they're all being brought together and just really all on the same page.
Yeah, so there's something around not just the understanding of the business use cases, but it's the education of, right?
Correct.
There's this, hey, I get the business problems, I get the understanding of how automation may solve this, but then it's creating what could be that business strategy for change,
Right.
that could really start becoming really, really important.
Yes.
So that's awesome. So as we then start looking at kind of the use case, or how do I understand, how do I know, right? So we talk through, maybe I'm a program champion, or I just got hired in and I'm starting to look at my overall program. What are some of the key points or some of the obstacles that could identify, hey, maybe I'm in the stall point?
Oh, sure. So obviously, again, number one, not having a program champion is a huge stall point. Another really common stall point that we'll even see in some of our use cases is IT wanting to run the entire program. IT definitely should have a solid voice in the program as well as audit, but it's really the business that runs the program because it's the business processes that are being automated. IT can't be responsible for the SLAs of the business process if the automation goes down for any reason. So it's important that the business side really run the program.
What are some of the components then, as we look at the change management? This right? What are some of the key things that you would hope to see, or that we would bring to an organization to help drive what would be change management?
Sure. So there's the typical IT change management. I'm not going to go into that because we all know what IT change management
Extremely
is.
critical.
Yeah,
extremely
but
critical.
very critical.
Right, yeah.
But what a lot of organizations don't have or don't even think about in not just an automation program, but in a overall process change organization where maybe in a shared service center where you have each business unit relying on another business unit's process to help your workflow. So you've got to have business change management or maybe referred to as process change management. And then, of course, the big looming one is organizational change management, because if you don't have that adoption from the people side, then your program is also going to fail.
So could you say a little bit more, say, process change management? Maybe I don't understand exactly what that means.
Oh,
Could
yeah,
you go into a little
yeah.
more details around
Absolutely.
What something like looks
So let's take, for instance, you have a process that maybe the procurement department is responsible for doing on a day-to-day basis, and they are also rely heavily on the accounting department to also finish out that process. Well, if the procurement department automates a part of their process and doesn't tell the accounting department, then there's a complete just dysfunctional operation right there, because you've got part of the process being automated and the rest of it's being done manual, but the two parts of the organization don't know that that's going on, and there could be a failure of the work being done.
And it's fair to say that automation or not automation, these types of issues happen every day, right?
Yeah.
When processes are dependent upon multiple departments, and then it only complicates things when automation then is brought in. You have this digital worker who's now doing it, where a human, it's really quick. You just walk over and say, hey, just do it this way differently, right? And then you disseminate that across the 3 or 4 people who are doing the work. But within automation, it's not quite as easy to go tell a bot, right? So there's a level of change, and there's I think some time, right? And there are time constraints around. Okay, now I got to get a developer to kind of make the change. So really understanding kind of what.
Yeah, and as a manager, it's really easy to track the work being done, because I can walk right over to that person and ask them how they're doing today and what work have they done. Once it's automated, I've got to have a way of tracking that work being done in real time. So I've got to have a good, robust automation tool that I can track that data in real time.
That's great. So the next step then is we talk about use cases to really help others understand how and where. And I know that we recently have done an HFS webinar with Gilead to walk through how we have partnered with them and help them through exactly this change. So that link is actually available, should be on this page. But are there other use cases or other examples of how Agilify is helping other customers besides Gilead through this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So again, IT struggling with wanting to always run the program. We have 2 use cases right now where IT decided that they want to take full ownership of the program. And so we are currently working with these 2 clients to help IT and the business side really come together and understand that you both are running it together. It's not one or the other. And again, because we've got to make sure that the IT understands that they don't run the SLAs of the business. So the business will always own the process even after it's automated, because they are solely responsible for that process.
Yeah, it's something around the education piece, right? And it's how kind of strategic automation can be put into an organization. It's not a one-size-fits-all, and it's not, hey, here's your sheet, go install, right? Because every business runs itself differently. So having the expertise around hows and the whats and the wheres with the business and the business understanding with IT and how the system gets integrated into this organization. That ecosystem is specific to that organization, and having a partner who can come in to really understand kind of all the pieces and help, maybe referee is a better word.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then position what could be that communication in that channel. That's great. It's great. Well, thanks for coming in today. As we kind of finalize kind of the discussions, what advice would you give our listeners or viewers if they are in or they find themselves entering into the stall point?
Sure. So I would say definitely from the process part of the change, we want to make sure that we are implementing some type of business or process change management, so we can manage that up and downstream structure of the processes and the impacts that the automation is having on those processes being automated. From a system standpoint, I would say we want to make sure that we are, again, tracking that data in real time. Now that we don't have the workers that I can reach out and ask how they're doing, I need to be able to track that data in real time. And then from more of a people side, definitely, most positively, you've got to engage your workers early. Make sure you're involving them. Make sure they understand what that program, how that program is being run. I would also say that you've got to educate and train your management, because most programs will fail at that management level. Because if you don't have management on board, then your program is not going to be successful, because everything transpires down through management. And I would say you've got to take the time to educate your employees, maybe even make them become what we call spotters. Get them trained in looking for automation. Make sure that they are actively engaged in helping look for that automation.
So is it fair to say that Agilify has a spotter training or an automation awareness training?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I think it's spot on, maybe pun intended there. But really understanding how the overall automation program, and I know that last couple of years has really been a struggle for us within several of our clients, and really getting through that educational piece,
Right.
and really bringing, I think in the early days it was like this thing is going to take my job. There's a lot of fear around that, and some of that has kind of diminished a little bit, but there's still this lack of understanding around. Okay, I know that it's not going to take my job now, but I don't really understand it, so I don't know necessarily how to practically use it, or where I should be looking.
Right.
So thanks
Thanks
for coming in today, Justin. It's always great to have you on the show. Please head out to Agilify automation.com and take our automation maturity assessment. It's a great opportunity to understand maybe where you are in your overall automation journey, and opportunity for Agilify to help you through whatever it is or wherever stage that you're in. So thanks for helping everyone unleash their human potential.
Thank you.